is Joy News Prime.
This is Joy News Prime here on Joy News on Multi TV. My name is Israel Laye. Coming up, police rescue 3-year-old girl kidnapped in attack on Brunahafo Region radio station by angry customers of microfinance company. Public outcry as 27% increase in fuel prices take effect at the pumps. Ghana Health Service Director General urges calm among staff of the Ridge Hospital as the service works on addressing their complaints about the appointment of their new medical director.
And in business tonight, Finance Ministry suspends controversial 1% withholding tax on investments income, citing public concerns. And pensioners to enjoy 20% increase in their monthly pensions. There's also sports, entertainment, and our interactive segment all coming up in this bulletin, which is also available across Europe on ABN Television, on the Sky platform, as well as Freeview Connect. Do stay tuned. Police in the Brunahafo region have rescued a 3-year-old girl who was kidnapped in an attack on a radio station at Nkranza in the Brunahafo region. A mob of angry customers had besieged the radio station to demand their deposits lodged with Jasta Motors and Investment, a microfinance company. The mob is said to have vented their frustrations on the radio station, said to belong to the same group of companies holding their deposits, and are threatened to kill staff of the station. The police eventually had to shut down operations. Anas Sabit of Gaskia FM joins us on the phone line with more. Good evening to you, Anas. Tell us more about this, how this kidnapping came about.
Good evening, Israel. It all started yesterday around 3 p.m. when a 3-year-old daughter of one Daddy Brown, who is 33 years old, and the head of sports of Jerison FM here in Kranza in the Brunahafo region, the young girl was kidnapped by unknown people who claim their investment company, which is Jasta Motors, is having their investments, and until they receive their money back, they are not going to release the 3-year-old daughter of the head of sports, who is in the person of Daddy Brown.
All right, so Anas, I'd first like you to explain to us, how did it all, was it that the mob attacked the radio station first before the girl was kidnapped, or this happened way before the mob actually took action?
The kidnap was yesterday. The young girl was kidnapped yesterday in the evening, but the mob attacked the radio station this morning to demand for the CEO of Jerison FM, who is also the CEO of Jasta Motors, to release their money to them, as well as give out money back to the kidnappers for the girl to release. So that is exactly how it all started yesterday, and then this morning the police have to come in to ensure that the workers of the radio station, which is Jerison FM, are in safe hands, such as providing security to the people, as well as closing down the radio station earlier this morning. But information we had from the police indicates that one Eric Otu, who is a 23-year-old, has been picked and arrested. He was lured to the Nkranza Senior High School in an attempt to give him the money demanded by the kidnappers to release the 3-year-old daughter. And by so doing, the police were able to lodge him and then get him arrested, as well as leading them to where the girl who was kidnapped was, kept. So the girl has been picked, and then she was taken to the hospital for medical checkup. And the guy who is in custody, Eric Otu, will be arraigned before court tomorrow by the police. This is what we have so far from the Nkranza police.
Now, Anas, this Eric Otu, who we're told kidnapped the girl, is it that he also has his deposit with the microfinance firm?
The police are yet to brief to us whether he has his investment, or he has been charged, or he has been tasked to do the kidnapping. So for now, we are unable to tell whether he is having his investment with the company or he has been tasked to do that kidnapping by one of the big clients of the investment company. We're told that the kidnap demanded for 10,000 Ghana cedis from the investment company and from the place, in Kranza Place, that he informed us that the director or the CEO of Jasta Motors released that amount, and they were able to use the amount to lure the kid, one Eric Otu, to be able to lead to where the girl is. So from what we have here, we cannot tell whether Eric Otu is having his investment with the company or he was tasked to do the kidnapping by an abuse client.
Was a 3-year-old girl harmed in any way, and where is she at the moment?
Come again, please.
Was the girl harmed in any way, and where is she at the moment?
Yeah, she's currently at the hospital. She's currently at the hospital. She's harmed, and from my interaction with the police, she's in good shape, and nothing bad has happened to the girl.
All right, thank you very much, Anas Sabit of Gaskia FM, bringing us details of the kidnapping of a 3-year-old girl at Nkranza in the Brown Harford region. Now, earlier, my colleague Jeffrey Bampo spoke to the police for some details about the kidnapping of the girl whose father, we're told, works for the radio station.
It was around yesterday, 3 p.m. at Nkranza, where one Daddy Brown of Jefferson FM came to the police station and reported that his 3-year-old daughter, Prince Asankwani, had been kidnapped by unknown assailant. And the assailant called him on phone and demanded that he has invested in the Jasta Moto, and that he, Daddy Brown, was so much involved in the Jasta Moto, and that his daughter is with him, and he needs to pay some huge sum of her money to enable him to release him.
ASP, did the gentleman say how much money he was demanding?
He said he was demanding a very large sum of money. The quantity he didn't tell. So a little of the money was gotten, and it was sent to a lady whose name was mentioned. And when the money was sent, then he called back and told the lady the money is too small and he should refuse. So when police had this information, quickly organized, map up a strategy with some sting operation to enable us get him. So yesterday, for instance, he once again went to the FM station, Johnson FM station, to remove the fuse of the electricity so that the whole place will be blackout. And then a complaint was lodged to police. But we still map up our strategy. And fortunately, as I speak to you, we have arrested him and retrieved the girl charge. So they are at the police station and are waiting to be prepared for court tomorrow.
Is the police providing security for the radio station, which I understand remains closed?
Oh, when police went in swiftly to intervene by arresting the person who had gone. He's by name Repoku, and he's the same person who kidnapped that 3-year-old girl. So when he was arrested, I think the area is calm. There hasn't been any threat of, vandalization or anything.
Now, 5 suspected robbers have shot and killed a middle-aged man who identified them after a raid at a Kumasi suburb of Bukanchi in the Ashanti region. The gun-wielding assailant has said to have fired at the victim, Kwame Boateng, after he had identified them by their names. Love Firms Ohimintia is following the story and joins us via telephone. Good evening to you, Ohimin. What more information do you have or have you gathered from the police?
Right. The Buakwa Police Command, before a few minutes to 6 p.m., I had a report that they have arrested a second suspect. It follows the arrest of one Bismarck Owusu, who is believed to be a member of the 5 5-member robbery gang, and police believe that this man will lead them to arrest more suspects. So a few minutes after 6, another suspect, whom the police have declined to give his details, has also been picked up. Let me say that I spoke to the Ashanti Regional Police TRO, ASP Yusuf Mohammed Tanko, who briefed me on what actually happened before the deceased Barima Osei was shot. And according to him, the 5-member robbery gang, they were masked. They robbed a staff of Newmont, Ghana, identified as Mr. Nchibo Esiakon, of 1,000 Ghana cedis, 2 laptop computers, and 6 mobile phones, as well as a flat-screen television set at gunpoint in this residence. So after the robbers had succeeded in their operations, they left the scene and unmasked themselves. And that is when the deceased Kwame Boateng at that time was also visiting the victim. So apparently he met the robbers and even mentioned some of their names, because that was it's just like you've met somebody you know and they striking acquaintances. So the robbers, knowing very well that Kwame Boateng has seen them, shot him. He didn't die on the spot, but he was taken by a good Samaritan who happened to be a taxi driver on his way to the confirmatory teaching hospital. That is when he died. So as we speak now, the body is being kept at the confirmatory hospital's morgue for autopsy. So police have also beefed up security, doing all that they can to arrest other members of the gang who, before the arrest, I'm told the reports that the robbers had struck 2 times before New Year's incident, Israel.
All right, Ohemi, do we know if he was able to give the names of these robbers to the police before he passed?
Not at all, because before he passed away, he was actually left on the street without anyone attending to him, not until a taxi driver passed by. Don't forget, it was already in the night. It was around 7:30 p.m., and anytime you hear gunshots, definitely people would just run from the gun. So people just ran or kept quiet in their homes until the taxi driver who was passing by saw the deceased in a pool of blood lying on the street. So he's the one who picked him. But unfortunately, police are yet to tell me whether he managed to give the information. Don't forget, he died on his way to the hospital.
What has the police said about the arresting or pursuing these robbers?
Yes, in the first instance, where one Bismarck Owusu, who is believed to be a member of the gang, in his arrest, police believe that, he will lead them to arrest more suspects, more members of the gang who they believe live within their vicinity. And just few minutes ago, another suspect was also picked up. When I tried to find out or get more details about this second suspect, the Ebokwa Police Commander, Superintendent Joseph Nyamba, will not give details except to say that police are investigating, because when they give up information, he suspects that more of the robbers would flee the area. So they want to keep the identity of this robber and also go ahead with their investigation so that they'll manage to arrest other members of the gang. But in the back at Bokanchi, the family of the late Kwame Boateng, who is also known as Coach Amansa, is a very popular man in the area. They have been mourning, and the entire Bokanchi community is also in mourning, because this is a man who lives in the community and is very free with everyone. He left behind 4 kids, and for the residents, they know very well that Kwame Boateng, a few minutes before his demise, was a full-fledged man who goes about his duties without, hesitation or without difficulties. For him to have died just like that.
All right. Thank you very much, Ohemi, joining us from Kumasi on the update of the death of one man who apparently had identified some suspects. Now, some news just coming through this evening. Right, so we're just getting this bit of news coming through from the Flagstaff House, and President John Mahama has announced changes in the top hierarchy of the Ghana Armed Forces. AVM Samson Michael Oje replaces Vice Admiral Matthew Kwashi as the Chief of Defense Staff. Vice Admiral Kwashi has been appointed an ambassador designate. The other appointments are as follows: Chief of Air Staff Air Commodore Maxwell Manchebi Te Nagai, Chief of Naval Staff Commodore Peter Kofi Faido, Chief of Staff at the General Headquarters Brigadier General Samson Kujo Adeti, Chief of Army Staff, however, remains Major General Richard Kwame Opoku Eduse, and this is coming from the media office of the Flagstaff House Communications Bureau. I'd like to quickly go over the names again. So these are changes made to the top hierarchy of the Ghana Armed Forces, and is by the President John Dramani Mahama. AVM Samson Michael Oje replaces Vice Admiral Matthew Kwashi as the Chief of Defense Staff. Vice Admiral Kwashi has been appointed an ambassador designate. The other appointments are as follows: Chief of Air Staff Air Commodore Maxwell Manchebi Te Nagai. The Chief of Naval Staff is Commodore Peter Kofi Faido. Chief of Staff at the General Headquarters, Brigadier General Samson Kujo Adeti, and Chief of Army Staff, however, remains Major General Richard Kwame Opoku Eduse. All right, so you're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. When we come back, we have more stories coming up. Don't go away. The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Ebenezer Appiah-Dentra, is asking medical staff of the Ridge Hospital to remain calm as the service examines their petition regarding the appointment of a new medical director for the facility. Some senior staff have rejected the appointment of Thomas Anaba on the basis that the selection process wasn't followed through, and have indicated they will not cooperate with him. Dr. Appiah-Dentra spoke with Joy News after a meeting with the Ghana Health Service Council on worker agitation at both the Ridge and Korle Bu hospitals.
The crunch meeting by the Ghana Health Service follows the current impasse between staff and management at the two major health facilities here in Accra. Some senior staff of Korle Bu are demanding the removal of their chief executive, Dr. Gilbert Buckle, for what they say is poor performance. They also petitioned the Health Ministry over the matter. The Ridge Hospital staff also petitioned the Ghana Health Service Council to review the appointment of the new medical director, Dr. Thomas Anaba. The aggrieved staff, who have posted notice of resistance at vantage post of the hospital, are citing breach in the selection process. Director General of the Ghana Health Service, who has been in meetings with the council to address the matter, says a committee will be set up to look into the matter.
Yes, we've received the letter. I've just holding it in my hand here, and it's addressed to the council chair. So we're going to give to the council chair. He will likely to constitute a team to look at the petition and then meet the team. But meanwhile, we expect them to continue doing their normal work, because the processes have been, the process they've gone through, the usual process that normally is taken anytime somebody is supposed to be appointed.
I know you haven't gone through the details of the report, but I'm sure you may have cited some of the reasons that they were reasoned as from the hospital.
Oh, the reason is, one I've just seen is that there's somebody who has been working in the hospital for long, and then the opinion is that that person should be the one. Actually, that's the one I'm holding. The person wrote that he thought that he should be the person to be the leader, and not somebody who has come from elsewhere. But it's an interview, so we're just going to look, which is open, and it's raising some issues concerning the procedure of the interview. So now we have to get a team to look at it and see the concerns that have been raised, whether they are factual or maybe just perceived. Certainly, anytime there's any issue, we expect staff to communicate to us just like they've done, and sometimes they could even have added somebody to come and then maybe briefed us. But we don't expect them to go on riot or maybe display certain things, because that's not the way of the civil service. Exactly, it's not the way of the civil service or the public service. So I think we want to assure them that we'll take care of the petitions and then work on it. So we'll give it to the council chairman, and then he will then probably constitute the team to look at it.
Meanwhile, Joy News has learned that the senior staff of the Ridge Hospital have also petitioned the president over the matter.
The Director of Communications of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Nana Komia, has blamed President John Mahama for the Electoral Commission's decision not to compile a new voters register. Reacting to the EC's response to the party's call for a new voters register, Nana Komia questioned the neutrality of the EC chair. He, however, explains that NPP will soon state its official position on the EC response.
The Director of Communication for the NPP, Nana Komia, expressed his disappointment at the decision taken by the Electoral Commission and blamed President John Mahama for the decision not to compile a new voters register.
The one who is most at fault is President Mahama. Because you see, yes, it's in the Constitution that you, the player, the president, you appoint the Electoral Commission. But you see, you want to be a statesman. You want to show that you are really committed to fair play. So even though the Constitution says that you should appoint a referee, because you want to ensure there's fair play, you would consult the other players. That, look, even though I have the authority to appoint a referee, I want to appoint somebody that all of us can trust. So I want you people to also give an input into the nominees that I have in mind, so that the person who emerges is somebody that everybody is comfortable with. That's what President Mahama should have done. But then he went ahead and said, this thing gives me the chance to appoint a referee. I'm going to go ahead and do it. It favors me, and he went ahead and did it. You see? So right from the beginning, you inbuilt problems.
According to him, the party is meeting on the EC's response and will react appropriately.
Members of the party's electoral committee will be meeting shortly. And then after that, the party will give a considered response to the electoral commission's decision.
The NPP and some civil society groups had advocated for a new electoral roll, saying the current one is flawed and bloated with names of foreigners and minors. But the Electoral Commission has rejected their request and has opted for the cleansing of the register. Emmanuel Ante for Joy News, Accra.
Well, the Convention People's Party says it is disappointed by the decision of the Electoral Commission to maintain the existing electoral roll for the 2016 general elections. The party, however, insists it will do all it can to ensure the current register is properly sanitized before the presidential and parliamentary polls this year. The General Secretary of the Convention People's Party, Niyama Konfra, joins us on the phone with more on this. Good evening to you, Mr. Konfra. Can you explain to us why exactly you're disappointed with the EC's response?
Well, I think that our position was for a new voters register based on information that we had. Our stronghold, our main parliamentary constituency, was bloated by 11,000 votes, 11,000 people on the register. We know that those people there are fraudulently on the register, and we were calling for a new register. Now, if we haven't got that, of course it's disappointing, because we know that the names are there. We know that those names are still on the register.
But the EC, the Electoral Commission says it's going to clean it up.
Yes, well, as I've said, we will do everything we can. It must be a transparent process to seek to, one way or another, one by one, every constituency that's affected needs to be sanitized. Is the sanitization enough? Because there may be many, many other constituencies that we've missed. We were very disappointed because we were calling for a new register because we think that is the thing that the whole country will welcome. I don't believe that the country is happy with this decision. We don't believe that the country is happy. We don't believe that the citizens are happy. Indeed, government should be open and transparent and want to go for a register which satisfies the whole nation. If they haven't gone for it, it's almost a halfway house. And is that something that the country is going to be happy with? We will play along. We will certainly ensure that every constituency that we think that they are concerned, one by one, should be tackled. And indeed, the recommendation is not that the recommendation is saying that because there's no new register, the concern should not be addressed. It is still saying that minors should be removed from the register, aliens should be removed from the register. Of course, the deceased people should be removed from the register. But how is all of that going to be done? How is it all going to be done? And, well, it's calling for a transparent process with the political parties. We will have to see how that goes about. I mean, because we believe a new register would have been the best way to tackle it.
All right, thank you very much. Niama Akonfra is General Secretary of the Convention People's Party. Meanwhile, a lawyer for Abu Ramadan, Nana Asante says they will continue their case in court to compel the Electoral Commission to compile a new voters register. Speaking to Joy News, Nana Asante explained their case in court has more to do with people registering with the National Health Insurance cards, which according to him is illegal.
The NPP has not been able to show that these Togolese people did not qualify under our laws to register, and therefore removing them would be discriminatory and arbitrary because you've got to give them an opportunity to be heard. In the second case, the Supreme Court has said that the use of the NHIA card is unconstitutional. It was unconstitutional when the people purported to use the card to register. So that registration is null and void ab initio. From the very beginning, it is null and void. Now, if you are a person who used the NHIA card to register, then your registration is null and void. It's a very different matter from the issue of the EC saying that the Togolese people who are alleged to be Togolese and had registered were not entitled to register. What is the basis of their not being entitled? Is it because they're not Ghanaians? Are they Ghanaians and Togolese as well? Blah blah blah. So, well, Jifa, let's cast our minds back. Every time in this country that we've had to do a new register, it's been a 3-week exercise. 3 weeks. Professor Jega was here from Nigeria. He was here, a couple of weeks ago. And he also said that in revising their register to make it credible, it took him 3 weeks or so. I don't think that, and they have a much bigger population, 78 million or so voters, or 68 million or something like that. In the same experience in Kenya, it took them 21 days to put up a new register. There's so many examples. I don't think time is the issue. I think we should be concerned about having a credible, accurate register of Ghanaians, people who qualify to vote, not of foreigners, not of minors, not of people who do not qualify. That is what we should be concerned about, so that we have a process that we can all say has integrity. We cannot appeal to time and money to then say that it's okay, we should do it anyhow, because that breeds a lot of contempt for the process, and there'll be a lot of problems in the future, which I don't even want to contemplate.
You're watching Joy News Prime Time now for a break, but still to come in the bulletin. In business, Finance Ministry suspends controversial 1% withholding tax on investment income, citing public concerns. And there's public outcry as a result of the 27% increase in fuel prices, which took effect at the pumps on Monday. We'll be back with more. Don't worry.
Time now for business. My name is Eton Amsin. You can now be assured that any income earned from investments will not be taxed. That's the Finance Ministry in a statement today confirmed the suspension of the 1% tax on investments income. The ministry also added that it has submitted proposals for the tax to be revised. George Wiafe has more in this report.
According to the Finance Ministry, the 1% tax on investment incomes has been influenced by concerns from some taxpayers when it comes to withholding tax on provisions of some services and payment of taxes on interest paid to individuals. It maintains that the increase in the withholding tax on services to 15% is rather to encourage businesses to file their tax returns on time, of which they will be entitled to a credit of the amount withheld. The Finance Ministry also maintains that the current laws will allow the Commissioner General to grant exemptions to businesses that comply with the revised Income Tax Act. It also maintains that the changes in taxes are critical to ensure that there is some uniformity on how government taxes personal and corporate incomes, adding that the new tax provides additional benefits to taxpayers.
Now, some players in the financial sector have welcomed the suspension as timely. Chief Executive of Dayless Financial Services, Ken Thompson, also says the reversal will go a long way to improve the availability of credit for businesses, adding that if government really wants to stabilize the economy, the solution is to devalue the cedi.
Well, you need to increase income. Okay, so how do you do it? You tax more. You can't tax anybody because everybody, we're paying, everybody's up to their eyeballs in tax. We've got to sell more. And one sure way of promoting exports is to devalue. And countries have done it. China devalued last year, and that was followed by some devaluation, I think, in Indonesia and other Asian countries. There's always the issue as to whether we have the infrastructure to support export. But we have to start. And remember that we've had major devaluations in this country and we survived. And those devaluations had a significant impact on revenue. We had devaluation in Achampong's time. It was a major devaluation. We had devaluation in Rawlins's time. It was a major devaluation. I think it went from, it was over 100%. I think it was over 100%. So we've been here before. And the same things that we did at the time, we have to do it now.
Now, the 2-week shutdown of the Atuabo gas processing plant for scheduled maintenance works beginning on the 15th of January is not expected to have a major impact on the country's power supply. Gas from the Atuabo plant has been the main source of fuel for most power producers in the country. It was the view of some members of the public that companies like the VRA might be forced to turn to crude oil, which may come at a relatively higher cost, a development that could affect power supply. However, communications manager at Ghana Gas, Alfred Ugbami, tells Joy Business the plant shutdown could end earlier than the proposed duration and will not affect current power supply.
Well, it's a routine scheduled maintenance program, and that we intend to do. If you remember last year around April, after 4,000 hours of operation, we had our first maintenance plan shutdown, and we announced 15 days. We eventually used 7 days, in fact 6 days out of it. So by the 7th day we were back. So the maximum we intend to do this time is about 14 days.
The shutdown, what does it mean to power supply?
Basically not much, because as I said, it's a pre-planned program. That means that VR is aware they would procure alternative fuel source, which is like crude oil, and they would use it to generate the necessary power from Atuabo until we come back. Of course, we all know that Abuazi currently generates the largest volume of energy from a single source. I mean, Akosomo used to be, but it's been running barely half of its capacity for almost 2 years now. So what will happen is that the VRA would get alternative fuel to run the Abuazi turbines till we come back. It really doesn't mean much.
So like we said earlier, it's a new year. We'd like to see how your investments are looking. This week on Business Life, we looked at how the year ended. This week, we're looking at which stocks to look out for. And John is here. Hello, John.
Hi, Eto.
So tell us, how is the week looking? It's Monday. Is it too early to tell?
Too early, but sometimes you're able to pick up the numbers very early,
right,
like this. You're able to pick up the indications as to whether the market is going to do well or not. So basically, what we are looking at today is to look at how the market fared today, the first day of the year, and why it did so. Probably we'll be taking some perspective over last year as well to see how the market really did fare. Looking at how the market really fared today, I think there wasn't that much activity in the market, which is expected actually under normal circumstances if you look at it very well. The week opened almost around 12.04%, right, and closed around 11.77 and 14.25 as against 13.98. These are respective of the CI and FR, that is the indices on the market. So if you had invested on the market today, assuming your stocks were full of financial stocks, like the Carl Bank, the Barclays, the Standard Chartered, and all, you would have lost about 14.25% of your money invested.
That's a lot.
Annually. It's a lot of money lost. But the point is, how come this? The issue is that, number one, Ghana had not so good a foothold on its interest rate. And usually, investor like yourself, you would want to be nosing around for which investment is actually giving you the highest yield in terms of the interest rate. Okay? And when investors compared, the stock exchange or the stock market wasn't, it's not been doing that well. So they invest in T-bills and other bonds than to go onto the exchange to lose all these amounts of money. So that's basically what these numbers are actually saying. But then for today, as we can see on the screens here, we have MLC, HFC, and MAC gaining was about 15 and then 19% respectively to close at these values. These have some significant impact on the market, but overall, it did not really change that much the average numbers of the market. So basically, that's how the market has been going.
We're looking at the commodity markets. I am very, very worried about crude oil. It's now about $36 per barrel. That is serious.
You are right. But some analysts are even further projecting some further declines going forward. Some are even predicting some around $27 to about $25 per barrel within the first quarter of 2016. That is scary because number one, very scary. Number one, Iran has actually promised that when the embargo is lifted off them, they're going to actually push more oil onto the market. But already, last I think we said it here, already we have almost in excess of 900,000 barrels on the international market, pushing prices down. Saudi Arabia is saying that they are not going to be budged by this. Okay? Because in a normal circumstance, you will see OPEC cutting down on volumes, but they say no, they're not going to actually do that. And Iran is also coming to join the fray to actually push more on the market. So prices definitely is going to go down. And I do support those analysts who are of the view that
and supply will be more than demand. I agree.
Naturally so, and that will push prices down. That's exactly what it is.
And I don't intend for us to talk about this a lot, but T-bills. The interest on T-bills has gone down from 25 to 22%. And I am worried about that too, John.
Exactly. Yeah, but the point is, that's supposed to be good news for the country because when interest rate goes down
but it's not good news for me.
On market like that, for the economy, it's a good signal that there's confidence in the market. Okay, that's one thing. It's only when it goes up, then it means that people are not really confident. Therefore, they would want to be paid high to actually take that kind of risk. But for now, if you are seeing it go down, it means some confidence actually trickling into the system. And who knows? As a country, it is good. But you, as the investor, you would always want to see more. But the point is this:
I get it.
When you make the money, where do you spend the money? You spend it back into the economy. So you need to have some strong macroeconomic indicators to actually to enjoy your money. So I think so far so good.
I agree with you. I agree with you, John. Thank you so much for that analysis. So now you have a clear idea where to look at where you want to invest. My name is Etonam saying that's how we wrap up.
Now, the coming into force of the energy levy bill recently passed by Parliament has seen petroleum prices go up by as much as 27%. Joy News checks reveal the increase took effect at many fuel stations from Monday, and motorists are having to pay the new prices. The increase has, however, not gone down well with members of the public who say the last thing they expected for the new year was an increase in the prices of goods and services. TV Idris has more.
Call it a New Year present if you like, but not what you would anticipate receiving. It is the announcement that Ghanaians will be paying more taxes on petroleum products following the passage of the 2015 Energy Sector Levy Bill by Parliament. But that decision is causing a huge public outcry.
It's ridiculous. We live in a country where everything seems just to be going up. It's just not fair.
Did you budget for this going into this year, 2016?
No, not at all. Honestly, I thought this new year we are going to ease into it with the old system and then try to adjust to it, only to be hit with this shock with the increments.
It's really hurting us, serious. Now that this one is going, increment of petrol is going, it's not good. So they should do something about it, seriously. If not, we don't know what to do. We will use all our money to buy food, and it's not going to help the country. You understand what I mean? Yes. So they should seriously try and do something about it.
Meanwhile, the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Duncan Amwa, has described the increment as wicked and insensitive on the part of government. He further explained that the margin makes nonsense of the petroleum price regulation. Duncan Amwa has therefore given government 1 week ultimatum to withdraw what he describes as a lazy bill from Parliament or face the wrath of consumers.
I think variously most economic discussants have indicated that there's a way we could even widen our tax net. One would expect the managers of this economy to do a prudent job. Look at other sectors, productive sectors of the economy. How do we strengthen, how do we get a little more from them? Rather than doing the cheap, lazy approach of thinking some consumables, right, are easy to bring in revenue. So let us sit in our offices, the comfort of our offices, just send a bill that says, oh, you people should pay more, and they are paying more. It is a very...
Government is currently considering withdrawing the withholding tax, which increased to 15% following the passage of the Income Tax Act. The Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers hinted of a demonstration if government fails to reconsider the increment.
Meanwhile, at the commercial bus terminals, the operators have been tied down and will have to wait till Tuesday to effect changes to transport fares after meeting with the Secretariat of the GPRTU. Lord Barima Osei Asare has been speaking with some drivers and passengers about the transport fares.
Are you charging per the transport fares? Are you still taking your old fares or you have increased it?
The old fare. We are collecting the old fare.
Okay, so it means that nothing has changed. How much were you charging previously?
Okay, now from here to Afla, we collect 20 Ghana. 20 Ghana. And then Akachi, we collect 150.
And as at 5 p.m., you haven't changed it?
No, we didn't change anything. Okay. So now we are waiting. They say they will change it for us. So we are waiting for them. If information comes, and then we know how to take our course.
They are saying that tomorrow they are going to have a meeting. Now, if it so happens that there's an increment in the fares, how will that affect your business?
I think we have make our mind that if they won't increase itself, we are going to increase it tomorrow. And we have to make it. Now we are taking, let's say, from here to Osu is 2:30. So we make our mind that at the point of the day, we are going to add 20% to it to become 250.
But what if after the meeting they decide that the fares should still be retained without any increase?
Oh, I don't think they will say so. And if it comes so, we have to take our mind. We make our minds of this.
Okay. Now, let's say that it has been increased. How do you think it will affect your business? Do you think the patronage will be the same? Will people still be taking the taxis like normal?
Well, it depends the place that we are going. You see, maybe sometimes we used to get dropping. So if you are going far away from this place, we know how to charge. But the lower fare there, we have compulsory the real charge of it.
So you don't think that it will affect your business in any way?
Well, I don't think it will affect our business because so far as we will increase the price, it goes that way. Because if they increase petrol, everything have to be increased. Either you buy KK or everything that you buy, I think it will be increased. that is the same thing against our work. So we think by the day of the day, yes, tomorrow, we have to go and increase our this.
Oh, it didn't affect it too much because the old price formally is very low and we increase it, so we are waiting for them. But if you are senior, say we should increase it, tomorrow we increase our fare. Oh, they can complain. They will complain, but yes, as soon as we increase it, we increase it. There's nothing to change the knowledge. Until the time, they will bring the rare fee. That's the way.
So you are not worried that it will affect your business?
No. If I buy my petrol, the person that came, my car was parked, I haven't spoiled my fuel. So I'll wait till the time the car should be full out. Or I get a drop in and I find my way. When I charge you, you accept it, I will take you along. If you don't accept it, my car is there. That's all.
The layman cannot afford it. You know, the ordinary people cannot afford it. It's only those who have traveled and those who are doing a lot of business that will be able to afford it.
Okay.
So it looks like people are suffering, really, really suffering, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you're saying that people are suffering, but from tomorrow, there's a likelihood that it will be increased again because fuel prices are up. Now, looking at that, would you still be taking taxis?
No, even when I arrived, I've not been taking taxis. I've been trying to take the trotro because that's what I can afford. You know, because if you concentrate on the taxi, if you don't take care, whatever you are coming to do in the country, you can't do it because you spend all your money on taxis. You know, so yeah, so no, unless wherever I'm going, the trotro is not able to get there, then I'll, you know, try to take a taxi. But if trotro is able to get there, I'm going to take trotro.
Roger, enjoy News Prime. We'll bring you international news after this break. Right, you're watching Joy News Prime. And what's coming up on Joy News Interactive? Well, I have a new guy here who's to tell us about it. Good evening to you, Lord.
Hello, Israel.
All right, so what's coming up on Joy News Interactive?
Okay, so the holidays are over and many Ghanaians are unhappy with what they describe as government's unfair New Year package to the nation.
The layman cannot afford it. You know, the ordinary people cannot afford it. It's only those who have traveled and those who are doing a lot of business that will be able to afford it.
Okay.
So it looks like people are suffering, really, really suffering.
Well, we'll be taking all your comments, including robbers gunning down a man who identified them after a robbery attack. The entire segment is brought to you by Ethel. My name is Lord Asare, and I'll be back within the hour with more.
All right, so certainly Lord will be here with the Joy News Interactive in the second hour of the bulletin. Still to come, we also have entertainment and the new look Miss G will be joining me for the entertainment segment. Then we also have sports. Please stay tuned. We'll be back in a bit. Watching Joy News Prime Time now for a recap of our top stories. And police have rescued a 3-year-old girl kidnapped in connection with an attack on a Brunga-Hafo region radio station by angry customers of microfinance firm. Public outcry has greeted the 27% increase in fuel prices, which took effect at the pumps today. The Ghana Health Service Director General is urging calm among staff of the Ridge Hospital as the service works on addressing their complaint about the appointment of the new medical director. And the Finance Ministry has suspended a controversial 1% withholding tax on investment income, citing public concerns. And on to the rest of our stories. And pensioners will from this year see a 20% increase in their monthly pensions from the Social Security and National Insurance Trust SNIT. The increase, according to a statement issued by the Trust, is a statutory requirement. SNIT's Corporate Affairs Manager Evangeline Amegashi has been explaining the factors that were used in determining the level of increase.
Naturally, this will come as good news to some people, but to others, they wouldn't appreciate it much because they will ask, how much at all is this? I want to find out, in the first place, why the increment?
By Section 80 of the National Pensions Act, Act 766, SSNIT is obliged to pay annual increment to pensioners on its payroll. So we are obliged by law to pay, or we call it, if you have to use the term in the law, it means indexation, to index the pension of current pensioners. So this year, we have indexed it or increased it by 20%. And the 20% is redistributed in this manner. Every pensioner is going to get 39 cedis, 29 pesos, 39 Ghana cedis, 29 pesos. Every pensioner is going to get, in addition to 12% of whatever the pensioner was earning as at December 2015. Okay. So it's been broken.
39 is flat.
It's flat. 39 cedis, 29. It's flat to everybody.
Okay.
In addition to that, they're going to add 12% of whatever you were earning in December 2015 to it.
Okay.
And the highest pension earner earns 26,000 Ghana cedis as at December. And the minimum was 230 Ghana cedis. But I think it is instructive to note that pension payment is based on your earnings. Is based on your earnings. That is why you see the remarkable difference between 26,000 Ghana cedis and 230 Ghana cedis. Even some of the people who are on the minimum pension, it is SSNIT who has decided that nobody earns below a certain figure. So every year, SSNIT comes out with a minimum pension.
Okay.
But if not, if we have to use strictly based on salaries, there are some people who would have earned.
This division of, or what you are saying, the redistribution is in a way to get everybody to get an appreciable increment. Is that it?
Exactly, okay. Exactly. So that especially those on the middle to lower income or pensioners, they can get something substantial. Substantial being relative, depending on how much they were earning.
Would it be fair to say that these 20% increments could have gone a bit up? It could have been much more than 20%.
That's as if you want to collapse the fund.
Why?
Because we have to do actuarial projections to see how viable it is when you want to pay pension. So you can't just fix it. You know, there are certain pension and end of service benefits that were started all over in this country. They all collapsed because actuarial studies were not done. They just fixed the rate. Okay, when you work for 10 years and you are going, we pay you this.
The opposition New Patriotic Party has asked Ghanaians to reject the hardship being inflicted on them by the introduction of new taxes by government. Speaking in an interview joining us following the passage of the Energy Levy Bill, Director of Communications of the NPP described the move as a deliberate intent by the government to punish Ghanaians for expressing their displeasure with the bad governance of the ruling NDC.
This is about the people of Ghana and their welfare. It's not about NPP, it's not about NDC. So I'm calling on the people of Ghana to rise against this. Now, you talk of minority in parliament. You know how parliament works. It's the majority to have their way. So they come and they say, after the debate, they say, those in favor say aye. So they say aye. Those not in favor say no. No. The ayes have it. And that's the end of the matter. Put the taxes on the things that the rich people consume. Whiskey, cigarettes, cognac, V8. Put the taxes there. You go and put tax on water. 60% tariff increase, water. And you see, the petrol one, what makes it more annoying and full of impunity is that all over the world, prices of petrol are being reduced. Even in the very rich countries in Europe, prices of petrol are being reduced because the price of oil has fallen to about $35, the lowest in a long time. And you know, there are two main things that determine the price of petrol in Ghana. The first one is the price of oil on the international market. Whether the oil is $40, $50, $60. You can't do anything about it. The second one is the price of the dollar in Ghana. So in Ghana, in the last 2-3 months, the price of the dollar has been stable. It's been about 3 cedis 80 pesos to the dollar. In the last at least 2 months, it's been stable. On the international market, last year by this time, the oil was selling at about $100 a barrel. Today, as we speak, it's about $35 a barrel. So the price of the oil is coming down, and the price of the dollar is stable. So all over the world, the price of petrol is going down. Only in Ghana. Now, if you are the government, the price of oil has come down. By now, by what they call the automatic adjustment formula, petrol should be selling at about $8 or 9 cedis a gallon. From 12, should be selling at about 8 or 9 cedis because of the fall in the price of oil. Now, you don't reduce it. You don't even maintain it at 12 cedis. You have rather increased it to 15 cedis. When the price of oil has come down, everybody is expecting a relief. They don't give the relief. They rather increase it. You see, so it is clear case of impunity. Look at the hardships that is going to be visited on Ghanaians.
Now, the new parliamentary candidate for the National Democratic Congress in the Adentan constituency, Mohammed Ramadan, is set to hand a key campaign role to defeated MP Emmanuel Ashimor. Adentan was one of the fiercely contested constituencies during the governing party's primaries last year. Mr. Ramadan, however, managed to trounce his 3 contenders to emerge winner in the race and is confident he can retain the seat for the ruling NDC with the backing of the incumbent MP.
I am loyal, committed, and hardworking enough to come and work with him at the presidency. Then he should defeat whatever people say that I'm not NDC, I'm MPP or anything. He should defeat it. It came up a lot, but we addressed it, and God being good, people saw reason in what we said.
What do you think your family symbolizes with this diversity? Does it symbolize anything?
Tolerance. Tolerance. I think that's how we must live as a society. I mean, sometimes religion is foisted on people. You grow up into a home where your parents are Muslims. You sort of take up that religion. There are people who grow up and change their orientation, want to be Christians. You grow up in a home where your parents are Christians. You grow up and later on want to be a Muslim.
The battle is done, at least the first part of your party's own internal contest. We're moving into 2016. Yaboabian Samoa, a well-known face within the political landscape, was for a long time at the office of the vice president, was aspired for general secretary in the MPP. He lost, but certainly a heavyweight. You're coming head-to-head with him. Does that scare you?
It shouldn't scare me. I mean, I think people didn't give me a dog's chance. People thought, no, Ramadan as a newcomer, you're just coming. I mean, can he unseat Ashimor? Ashimor is too formidable. He's too strong. These are the same things I'm hearing about Yaboabing. The same work input I put in for the primaries, I'll probably double it up now. And I want to assure my people that it would amaze people the results I would make in the general.
Watching Joy News Prime. Up next, we bring you entertainment.
Entertainment news is brought to you.
All right, time now for entertainment, and Miss G, or the new look Miss G, has just joined me. Good evening to you.
Good evening,
and a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, to Israel. It's been a great 2015. We are anticipating that we'll have a fantastic...
And even greater 2016.
Yes, 2016.
What happened
starting with a new look. It's a new year. It's a new look. You know, I have been on vacation. Ask me where. Where? Ask me where.
Where?
Mumbai.
Where's that?
You know, there's Dubai. So I've been on vacation at Mumbai.
Mumbai.
Yeah, Mumbai.
Where's that?
That's my home, Mumbai. Most people are on vacation at Dubai.
You've been nowhere.
You don't know Mumbai?
Yeah, I didn't know. You're not telling me.
Yes, I went on vacation.
So I didn't know. Okay,
Mumbai.
but this also looks great on you.
Oh, thank you.
But it simply means that you're going to be changing it quite often, because.
Sure, we'll be back to the Kakai look soon. Don't worry.
Oh.
I'm
anyway,
like
let's get on with the news.
Anyway.
So what's happening?
So the man Fuse ODJ is in town. He bought a house here in Ghana at East Legon. It cost him $1 million to get that house. He's been chilling, having parties over the season, the festive season. He invited MI from Nigeria to come party with him. I've seen shots of him with some Ghanaian artists as well, including Stage A and some of the Tema guys, partying with him at East Legon. So today, Ghana.Video went to meet up with him. They talked about his career, what he's going to be doing in 2016. Apparently, he has ideas of making some more Ghanaians collaborate with him so that when he has his concerts out there, he can actually invite them over.
Okay.
Then people get to see them.
So the house is actually $1 million.
Exactly.
But you know that land, just a plot of land in East Legon cost $1 million.
Yes, so he was so excited that he had it for that amount. Of course,
But let's see the house. If we have the house, let's see the house.
Let's see the house and let's hear him talk about love as well.
It's nice to see, the people outside of Africa embracing Ghana and embracing Africa, especially people in the UK. So I'm out there representing Ghana to the fullest, man. I got music where I'm speaking tree in it as well. So because I got for doing something to me tree, my shed I'm like just to, put some tree in there as well, man. And just let the world know that I'm fully Ghanaian. And this year I want to work with a lot more Ghanaian artists as well, because I feel like when I go to these places, people need to know about, the amazing artists that are in Ghana as well, because I feel like the world needs to see it to be able to, bring them with me, when I go to these new places.
Oh, Fuse, I know this is quite an interesting question, but there's a saying that behind every successful man, there is a woman. Fuse, are you dating?
I'm currently single. I'm just focusing, but definitely behind a successful man there's an amazing woman, and that's my mom. My mom pushes me in everything that I do. I'm looking, but I'm too focused to, to look so hard. Everything happens for a reason, and eventually I'm sure I'm gonna meet the right person.
We didn't quite get to see the house. I'm hoping that you guys can bring us some, exclusive
some more visuals of the house.
Yeah, I want to see the $1
including
million
the bedroom.
house.
You want to see the bedroom as
Not
well?
interested so much in that, right? From the look of the house, you can tell whether.
Well, his dancer as well, Selassie, is also in town. She was with him in his home, and she actually revealed to us that she had intentions of being a musician, not a dancer, until she joined the dance class. She's still watching the videos on YouTube, and voila, now she's the lead dancer for Fuse ODG. But she hasn't thrown away her first dream, of being a musician.
Of being a musician.
Yes. She has a couple of tracks ready for the market.
First, I was, in a dance crew where they sort of taught me how to dance, do street dance, do a bit of soca and a bit of different styles of dancing and stuff. And this whole dance movement that was going on. So I thought a few years ago, then I met up with Usher. He's like a choreographer, dancer in GH, where he taught me a whole bunch of moves, and I took it back to the UK. Even before I started dancing, I wanted to do music. Music was the first thing. I was singing. I was, in a gospel choir at church and my school. I was doing a lot of singing stuff, and then so the dance came along. But then now I'm ready to really take my music to a next level.
All right, so that's Selassie, dancer of Fuse ODG, speaking to us. Unfortunately, she didn't do some moves for us to see, though.
Yeah.
Well, so Confidence is in the news. You know she's pregnant.
Well, yeah.
Yes, Confidence is heavily.
But there was actually reports suggesting that she had actually given birth.
No, I think it was after she posted the picture of, I think, a baby cot or something. Somebody asked her if the baby had arrived. Yeah. She said no, and then she decided to show us.
I saw her in her baby, the bump, and she looks sexy, I must say.
She does. Confidence never gets it wrong. She always looks good. Hey, with the beam I'm seeing on your face, I'm wondering why you're so excited. Hey, Israel.
Well, I'm excited because she actually sent me the photos.
Yes, I know. okay, so we got the photos by the kindness of Israel Lai. I don't know how. Why you're so interested in seeing?
No, so this is what happened.
Tell me.
Just this evening, we got information that she had actually delivered, and so I decided to, start a chat with her, and I was telling her, have you delivered? And she says, no, not yet.
Yeah.
I said, okay, but why is it everybody else is saying that you have given birth? She says, well, she posted some photos, and people assumed that was it. So I said, okay. So she voluntarily actually sent me the photos.
Yeah. That's the power of
I had actually wanted us to speak with her live on Skype, and she says, let's not do that now. let's wait for the baby to come. So we're waiting patiently.
Sure.
When the baby comes,
sure.
We're going to get an exclusive.
But let's go to a rather sad story. You know the story about high life musician Amachi Dede, the accident at the Bonsu Junction. Yes, today the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Madam Elizabeth Ofuswejere, was there together with some members of Gambo, including Bandex, Ahmed Ibrahim of Bandex Music. They were there to pay him a visit, and we got to speak to Bandex on radio. Here's what he had to say.
Amachi is doing well. We were here yesterday, and we are here this morning too. And he's doing great.
Has he been able to talk to any of you?
Of course, we spoke yesterday. I mean, he's been able to even explain what happened over there. So it shows how well he is. And even this morning, it was also much better.
Earlier we had reports that till this morning, Amachi didn't even know that his manager, Isaac Hebwa, had passed away. And so the news was brought to him today whilst his family went visiting him. And it said that he actually broke down in tears. The story is on my journal line. He actually broke down in tears, hearing that his manager is no more. It's quite a sad one.
Yeah, I can imagine, because you were with him and the accident happened. And you're safe. Yeah. And then it only turns out that, I'm sure he would have assumed that the manager was also doing
well and maybe was in the hospital being treated and all that. But the bodyguard is alive, so we pray for the best for Amachi Dede and then the bodyguard as well.
And from the story we're getting, it's not as if they were driving.
No.
Apparently they were in a stationary vehicle, and somebody comes from somewhere and whacks them off. True. And I mean, you hardly expect that you're going to be involved in an accident and lose
while
your life
you're minding your business, that kind of thing. Anyway, but let's go straight to Nigeria. And on 1st of January, the story has still been making waves. Olamide and Don Jazzy, both music producers. Now, there's an award called the Headies Award. This is in the 10th edition, took place on the 1st of January. And what happened was that Olamide's protege, who is called Lil Kesh, the guy who brought about the Shuki dance, was in a category called the Next Stage category, and was there with Ricardo Banks, who is also Don Jazzy's artist, and as well as Kiss and all that. But unfortunately, Ricardo Banks took the award, and Olamide was not too happy. Whilst he mounted stage, he passed some derogatory comments, and then Don Jazzy went back on stage and also replied him. Let's take the footage.
This was just love content.
Yes, but both of them are brand ambassadors for some telcos, and so they were asked to apologize. So they both issued an apology statement, to the public, and we saw them shaking hands. I didn't see smiles on Olamide's face though, but I hope that,
somehow, let's hope that they resolve the issues.
And then finally, before I go, Davido and Dele Momodu, they've been in the news over the controversy and an allegation that Davido actually wanted to take away, without permission from the baby mother, the daughter, she's called Imade, and apparently she had some conditions that he wanted to take her to a hospital in Dubai to be attended to, but he didn't inform the mother of the baby. And so I think Sophia, who is the mother of the baby, got wind of it, told her uncle, who is Chief Dele Momode, that we know here in Ghana, and Dele made some calls to the airport. They stopped them from taking the baby away. The whole family couldn't travel, and so the video actually released, I could say it's like a storybook, of how he met Sophia, what Sophia has been into, and the fact that she smokes cannabis is what is affecting their daughter and all that, back and forth, between both families, both very prominent families. So that's the latest from Nigeria as well.
Anyway, all right. Thank you very much, Ms. G.
Israel.
And in your new look.
I'm loving this look.
All right. And I must also say thank you very much to Confidence for the photos. And we're praying for you. We're praying that you go full term and deliver A lovely baby, a very healthy baby.
Boy or girl?
But I don't know what's coming up.
Okay, so boy, so that you call him Israel.
It doesn't work that way. All right then. Thank you very much, Miss G, for the entertainment. Up next, we bring you sports.
Entertainment news.
Time now for sports, and Gary R. Smith is here. Good evening to you, Gary.
Good evening, Israel.
All right. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year to you too.
Yes, this is the first bulletin we're doing in the new year.
It's always awkward because last year I remember seeing somebody on the 27th of January.
All right.
And then I had to say Happy New Year. I'm like, what's that?
All right. So what's coming up?
Real Madrid have decided to give Rafa Benitez the boot. And
they have?
Yes, they have. It's been trending. They had a press conference in the last hour, and they announced Zinedine Zidane as the new coach.
Interesting. Zinedine.
Yeah.
Okay.
The legend himself. So we have the story on myjoyonline.com. We'll be looking at your reactions and some very interesting percentages there as well. But this one from My Joy Online has it says, so let's scroll up the story so that we can read a bit. Yeah, Rafa is gone. He's been fired as Real Madrid coach with former player Zizou replacing the Spaniard. Now, the decision was announced by club president Florentino Perez. And tonight, after Real Madrid lost further ground in a title race with a 2-2 draw at Valencia yesterday, and pressure has been building on Benitez since a 3-2 defeat at Sevilla in November was followed by a 4-0 thrashing by Barca, who are now 4 points clear of Real Madrid at the top of La Liga. And that's where we take the story now. Real Madrid is one of those clubs that are just 4 points, 1, 2, 3, 4 behind Barcelona. And in January, they decide to sack Rafa Benitez. Such a demanding place, isn't it? So let's go straight to Twitter and see some of the stuff we have there at the press conference. So when it happened, we were asking you of your thoughts. And this is what we got from many of you about what you thought. Okay, so this is it. 62% of you think that Rafa Benitez deserves the boot. 38% of you think that the decision is bad. So head over to Joy FM's Twitter page for more. So that's a quick poll. So this one is from the press conference from earlier. Florentino Perez said, Zinedine, this is your stadium, this is your club. From this moment, Zidane is the manager of Real Madrid. And Zinedine Zidane also said, today is an emotional day. It's an even more emotional day than the one when I signed for this club as a player. And he also said, I am going to put my heart and soul into this job so that everything works out well. Now, let's do some statistics there and put it into perspective. Under Rafa Benitez, Real Madrid have won 17 of 25 matches, and he's lost just 3 over a 7-month period. I mean, that's really crazy that somebody with these stats has been kicked out of the job. And so this is the picture of Florentino Perez and Zinedine Zidane at the helm. So you can check Twitter and get more reaction to that story. Now, away from Spain and Zinedine Zidane, there's stuff happening. The GFA, the Ghana Football Association, have vowed to win the next Cup of Nations that is happening in Gabon next year. This, they say, is to appease you, the Ghanaian soccer fan.
Area, which personally I would want to see, and which I'm going to support the FA president to make sure that before he leaves office, is to at least annex the African Cup of Nations for the 5th time. Look, if Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi is able to do that and he leaves, I would say that the whole Ghana would then bow our head to say that we salute you, President. And so we are going to do everything in our power to make sure that at least 2017 AFCON will be able to win it.
So that's recently appointed GFA Vice President George Efrie there. Now, the same man was speaking about other issues in the exclusive interview we had with him. He's suggesting that huge protest fees should be put on board to attract competent lawyers to sit on cases. As you may know, the Ghana Football Association, like many organizations in Ghana, is inundated, and there are a lot of cases there that are not speedily put out and finished. So George Efrie is saying that money should be connected from lawyers so that the cases will be expedited.
I want to see us implement a sole judge system in the way we adjudicate cases in our disciplinary setup. Sole judge in a sense that the number of days and times we spend in coming out with decisions affects the smooth running of our football. Take, for instance, a case, the case between Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Hasselfolk and Ashgold. Initially, there was Ashgold who even pulled out. I mean, these are things that need to be, decisions that need to be taken within a week, no matter how it is. And that is what pertains, or that is what happens elsewhere. And I believe that we can do it. Now, in doing that, for us to be able to achieve that, it means that teams that protest for points need to pay for it. Pay for it in the sense that for us to attract the competent lawyers to adjudicate cases, it means that we must be able to pay them well. We must be able, so if you want to protest for a point, you should be prepared to pay, say, 5,000, 10,000 Ghana cedis into protecting for a point. Let us make the point of people trying to win ballroom points very difficult and expensive.
George Efrie is speaking there, but still with the Ghana Football Association. Over the holiday break, they set up a new ad hoc committee, and with the details is Benedict Owusu.
The Vice President of the GFA, George Efrie, has maintained his post as head of the Black Stars Management Committee. Winfred Osei Kweku joins him as his vice. The Chan team, or local Black Stars, has Ni Komete Doku as chairman, with Kojo Yanka as his vice. Osei Tutu Ajiman, who is the Ashanti Regional RFA chairman, has been appointed as the head of the Black Meteors Management Committee, with Keto Kreku, Dreams FC executive chairman, as vice. Alaji Sadugu of the Upper West FA is the chairman of the Black Satellite Management Committee, with Hearts board member Frank Nelson as vice chairman. The Black Starlet Hearts Kwekweya as chairman, with Kotoko CEO of Pukwinti as vice. For the Black Queens, Madam Linia Adi maintained her post as head of the team, with Salifu Zida as her vice.
So that's it for the sport for now. You can get more on that Rafa Benitez sacking and Zizou's appointment and what it means on myjoyonline.com/sport. Alternatively, keep checking our Twitter for more. I am Gary Al Smith. See you next time.